It was another day in the Roblox Squid Games, but this time I was none other than the best Power Ranger in the universe, Samurai Red. The game began, so I quickly sprinted past the other rapscallions, leaving them in the dust. But it seemed like my tomfoolery had caught up to me as I was suddenly shot in the leg. That was when a kind gentleman came back, sweeping me off my feet and walked me over to the finish line in order to save me. But I didn't like how he was trying to be all heroic with me, so I quickly moved out of his arms, pushing him out of the way, and walked myself to the finish line on my own. I had then noticed that he was still alive, so I pushed him back out yet again and went over to take my picture, which I of course mogged everyone else with. We were now in the easiest game of the Squid Games, and I had gotten myself the circle cookie. But it seemed like my game was a little off today, as I had not only cracked the cookie once, but twice. I then went over to Aura Farm on top of the rooftop when I spotted the same noob who attempted to help me standing over the swings. How dare he? Anyways, we were now in lunchtime, where I noticed that these gremlins had actually lined up in order to get their food for once, which of course didn't last for long. I then went over to the women's bathroom in order to eat my fill when the lights suddenly turned off, indicating the start of the survival round. The player in front of me then asked if we were chill, which he went on to learn otherwise as I hit him with the meanest black flash, which was definitely something Gihun had done before, and tragically ended the poor plebeian's life. I then spotted the player who I had an inconceivable grudge against and whacked him off the bed and started chasing the bastard across the map because I wanted to see him dead. And dead he was at last, and warned him against attempting to be a chivalrous knight. It was now time for the game of hide and seek, and of course I aura farmed to the goddess of luck in order to become a seeker. The hunt began, and I quickly spotted a silly-looking rabbit trying to open a door, so I stabbed him in the back, dropping him to the floor. He attempted to run, but as you would have guessed, he wasn't fast enough to outrun Mighty Red. It was a tragedy, but I did what needed to be done. But as I was trying to kill time waiting for the game to end, I had noticed a sneaky-looking player hiding behind a pillar of concrete, and since less players equals more money, I proceeded to destroy him in seconds. We were then in the next easiest game after Dalgona, the jump rope game, but it seemed like someone had something against me as I had fallen to my death due to my poor internet connection. Well, as you already know, I never truly die and came back to life, easily speed running the game, even going all the way back to the start just to demonstrate my Squid Gamer prowess. Anyways, we were now in the game of the glass bridge, but unfortunately I had the black flash ability equipped instead of the good old trickster class. And even though I could easily clear the game due to being a glass manufacturer and having the ability to dash, I still stayed behind the other players in order to watch them die. We were now in the mingle game, which I was easily beating without breaking a sweat, even getting a couple players eliminated, including poor old Reeve over here. But since we had somehow failed the requirement, the last three of us now needed to go into the final dinner. I then managed to successfully instigate the other fellow player to target white-haired boy Asher, and we tag-teamed him till he was dead, never to be seen again. We then went over to the final game and lured my opponent over to give me a handshake, quickly surprising him with a double whammy, and proceeded to hand him the biggest ass whooping in the entire game. Because while I'm still standing, evil will never win.